Now they'll have the complete post-NBA draft coverage with live analysis and the latest teams and news from Brooklyn. Also, what you need to see from that heated end of series between the Cubs and the Cardinals. And SVP, he wraps up its 10th season with a special edition of Boo or Woo, all of that and more on SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt after the draft next. Our Shams Charania has news on this next pick. What's up, Shams?
We're still working through it right now, but this pick is actually in talks to being traded. We'll report back when we have more.
I'm going to come back to you in just a second. We caught Shams working in real time here, Brian, trying to see where this pick could be headed. At least right now, the Memphis Grizzlies have this pick. But a couple of picks ago, we saw the Indiana Pacers on the clock. And Indiana made a move in the finals. It didn't seem like that big of a deal, but it became a bigger one after an unfortunate thing.
The Pacers are preparing to re-sign Miles Turner, and they were facing potentially going into the luxury tax for the first time in 20 years. And so I think they wanted to clear out some space. They traded away this year's first-round pick for next year's first-round pick. They got their pick back, and that really takes on extra significance because of the Halliburton injury. We're not sure where they're going to be. And I will also point out, they made a trade yesterday for the 38th pick in this draft, which they used on guard Cam Jones, which potentially could help fill in some of the space that Halliburton leaves being injured.
Again, initially they had that number 23 pick, but now they get their 2026 pick back. That could be incredibly valuable. All right, Shams is ready. Shams, what you got?
Malika, so I'm told this pick right here is not going to be Memphis's at 56. It's going to the Golden State Warriors. They're looking at several players. Florida's Will Richard is one of the players that the Warriors in their draft headquarters are looking strongly into. 59 now will go to Memphis.
59 will go to Memphis. Shams, thank you. We should mention there are only 59 picks in this draft because of a tampering penalty for the New York Knicks stemming from Jalen Brunson back in 2022. But this pick is on its way to the Golden State Warriors. Let's send it back to Deputy Commissioner Tatum.
We have another trade to announce. As part of a deal to be finalized later, the Phoenix Suns are trading to the Golden State Warriors the draft rights to Alex Tui, the 52nd pick. With the 56th pick in the 2025 NBA draft, the Memphis Grizzlies select Will Richard from the University of Florida.
Wow. And welcome back to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York.
To Florida, and he's a versatile shooter, a catch-and-shoot guy, but also really good as a straight-line driver and an excellent finisher around the rim. Shot about 70% at the rim. You would call him an off-ball scoring threat, but he also gets steals. He's a good defender, solid, and made 83s this last year, shooting about 37% from three.
Scored a team high 18 points in that national championship game, 14 of which came in the first half, so really got them off to a good start. So just to reiterate, we have the Golden State Warriors 56. Now it is 57, the Celtics, 58, the Cavaliers, and 59, the Memphis Grizzlies. Picks fly in the second round. Bob, why do you make a move like that if you're the Warriors or any team when you're looking at these late second round picks that fly around a whole lot?
Well, it's changed. I mean, it used to be you had to roster guys, and Bobby and I talked about this. These are, I don't know this, but I think I know it. These are two-way contracts being given out at this point. Teams are calling these agents and saying, if I draft him, will you sign a two-way? If the agent says no, a lot of times they say, well, we're going to draft somebody else. And Bobby and I spoke about that.
And you saw it last year with Golden State when they drafted Quentin Post, and they had him on a two-way contract, and then they eventually converted, and he certainly played well down the stretch of the season. So,
you mentioned earlier wanting to explain, just reiterating what a two-way contract exactly is. I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, 15 players on the roster. You're allowed to have a two-way spot. They would count as spot 16, 17, or 18, maximum of 3. Roughly $600,000 salary, which is a nice little bonus. You're not eligible for the playoffs here, but you can get converted during the regular season.
And it does allow you to control the player. And that's why you see teams jumping around here, because when the draft ends, your ability to get these players, it's a free-for-all. And the draft doesn't end, Malika, when our draft ends. They keep going, because a lot of players that didn't get drafted tonight are very attractive still to teams. A lot of those guys will go on two ways as well.
With the two-way, basically, it's a dual contract, which means you're going to spend most of your time in the G League. You can spend, what, up to 50
games.
50 games.
Well, we saw last year, Justin Edwards went undrafted, went on a two-way, and then eventually had his contract converted by the 76ers.
And then you're right, the draft does continue in a sense after we sign off this evening. That's when agents are on the phone talking to different teams about which players they might want to join as a undrafted player.
A few years ago, Lou Dort's phone rang shortly after he didn't get drafted. He's now a champion and a key player for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
And there are several players who have that story. By the way, Lou Dort will be joining NBA Today tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock Eastern.
All right.
And you can hear his story about going from undrafted to a champion. And so often we see those players wear that as a real badge, as a part of their journey. So now again, it is the Golden State Warriors 56, the Celtics at 57, and the Cleveland Cavaliers at 58. I'm keeping notes as we go. Let's send it back to the podium.
We have another trade to announce. As part of a deal to be finalized later, the Los Angeles Lakers are trading to the Chicago Bulls the draft rights to Lachlan Ulbrich, the 55th pick. With the 57th pick in the 2025
We got
NBA
2 more
draft,
picks left. 2
the
more to
Orlando
go.
Magic select Max Shulga from Kyiv, Ukraine, and Virginia Commonwealth University.
Max Shulga from VCU. He averaged 15 points and just under 6 rebounds a game, Jonathan.
Malika, he was the Atlantic 10 Player of the Year. He led VCU to the NCAA tournament. He shot 39% for 3 in his 5 seasons in college. I'm told that the Boston Celtics are going to have Max Shulga on a 2-way contract last year. He's 6'5.5". He can play with the ball. He did a lot of playmaking for VCU and obviously an outstanding shooter. We're going to see in the G League if he can guard his position. If he can, he's going to be an NBA player.
On his way here to the Boston Celtics for that development. Thank you so much, Jonathan. This has been an emotional night here in Barclays Center. The families, the young men, their NBA dreams realized, and of course, Pop Pop.
We'll be right back on the other side.